Alright, so we've got our skeleton ready to go, so now we're going to start animating. To animate the cat rig, the first thing we have to do is apply what's called an animation layer to the rig. So, if I click on the triangle, I can then go to the Motion tab, and under the Motion tab, I'm going to apply what's called an absolute animation layer. So it's not going to set any pre-driven keys, it's not going to set any predetermined animations, this will be all on us to do. So, I'm going to click on ABS, and then click ABS. And that puts it down right there. So now let's kind of go over how this character moves and what the difference between animation mode and stop mode is. So if I'm in stop mode, which is the mode I'm in right now, I can move bones around, etc., but I can't actually do any animation to the character. And also, whenever you hit play, it would snap back to whatever it was when you created that layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit play, and then we're going to go over how this character controls. So when we look at it, his hands pull his arms. So you can see that I'm moving his arms, but his hand does not rotate. So you always have to switch to the rotate tool to rotate the hand. Okay, and if I hit stop, he'll go back to that pose. Okay, so now we don't have any keyframes done yet, so that's fine. Now when it comes to moving the character's feet, they have these little boxes under each foot. If I select that, I can move it. So there it is, right? Now, a really important thing to notice is that this is only used to slide the entire character around. Now, it won't work when I'm in animation mode at all. So what happens is after I do animations, I can take this and slide it, and he'll perform his animation from wherever I slide this triangle, which is pretty handy. But right now we're going to go ahead and have him step off of this. So to do that, I'm going to select the pelvis. I'm going to come down here and turn on what's called auto key. So if I turn on auto key, the entire screen is going to go red. That's showing you that you are in animation mode. You are no longer in modeling mode, and be careful with what you do. So if I scale a bone or scale an object, it'll actually keyframe that object, which you don't want to do. So I'm going to have him take 3 steps or so. Well, how many frames do I have? 100. So we're going to stop at 90 frames. So 90 frames is going to be 3 seconds of animation because we're using 30 frames per second. So every 30 frames equals 1 second of animation. So I'm going to go ahead and slide to frame 90. Always slide the time slider first. That is incredibly important. If you do not, you can end up getting yourself into a little time paradox where your character moves before the time moves, and you just it looks bad. So I'm going to slide to 90, and then I'm going to go ahead and move this guy forward. So in 90 frames, I would like him to step to about here. Looks good. So now if I slide the slider, you can see that he's actually stepping. Well, I mean, he's not stepping, but he's sliding. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide which foot do I want to move first. Okay, so I guess I'm going to step off with his right foot. So I'm going to go to frame 8. Raise that. Put that down. So he's going to go. Okay. And I'm actually going to slide this forward to 10. So you can see that I'm sliding keyframes around just by selecting the red square and sliding it. So now it takes a small step, and then at frame 20 I need this foot to leave. However, if I don't set a key right now, and I decide, okay, so at frame 30 it's going to be taking a step. So look at this. So now he does this little hop, right, which we don't want him to do. So we know at frame 20 is when he's supposed to start moving. So I'm going to take this frame that it auto-generated and slide it forward. So now he has a keyframe at 20 telling him his foot can leave, and then at 40 he can put it down. So 1, 2. I'll come back over here to this key. So this one doesn't have a frame at 40, so the easiest thing to do is you can either duplicate that by holding shift and dragging it to 40, or you can just click this giant key button and it will automatically make one. So 40, I'm going to go to 60. I'm going to go to 50. We're doing 10 frames. Kind of raise it up. And then at 60, I will put it down. 70. I'm sorry, 60. I'm going to duplicate this and slide it over. Whoop. 70, it's in the air. 80, it goes on the ground. So let's watch it. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, so it's very, very simple, and also it's a little bit robotic right now, right? Because it kind of just looks like it snaps a little bit, and we're going to go through editing curves and fixing all of that stuff as we progress. But for right now, what I want you to do is make a simple 90 frame walk cycle. So frame 90, we could just have put his foot forward, so he slides it, so instead we'll have him kind of do that. So now we'll take a look at it. There we go. So he comes back around. Now what we'll do here is then we'll come in here and start actually editing everything. So he's lifting off with his right foot, so I'm going to add some slight rotation to the body. That's a little bit exaggerated here, just so you can see it. Usually people don't, almost fall over just walking. But you never know. Okay. So that looks good. So now we'll take a look at it and see what it's like. So you can see I exaggerated his movements a little bit, just so that way it's just kind of happening fairly quickly, and you can really see there's some stuff happening. So what I want you to do for your assignment is to go through and create an animation, a walk animation. You're going to have a whole week to do it, to where he steps, and you can go ahead and add his arm motion as well. So his arm kind of goes back and forwards. So again, I'm kind of really exaggerating these movements here a little bit. So this one will go up and this one will go back. Okay, so you're just going to go ahead and adjust that arm. I don't like that front one. So if I want to delete a key, I can right click it and click delete keys, and it'll be all. Okay, and so this also still has keys on the arm, so get rid of those. There we go. So now at frame 30, bring this one forward. Bring this one back. Okay, So I still have too much motion in the arms, but that's the idea. So what you're going to do is go ahead and do this full animation. So with some arm motion, with him walking, try to add a little bit of like the pelvic rotations and movements into the animation as well, because you could also have him when he like steps up, you could even move him up slightly if you wanted to. You know, depending on how you're doing it. And then when he steps down, bring him down. Steps up, bring him up. Steps down, bring him down. Right, so that does look a bit better. So go ahead and do a full walk cycle, or we'll just, 90 seconds. And I split these into about 10 frames per portion of a step. Each step has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So a start, a middle, and an end. And the middle is always when it's up and under his body. So it's in the air traveling to the end point. Okay, so you have a down, up, down. And then when you have another one start, again, you have to make sure that, so this one ended at 20, so this one needs to start at 20. Make sure it's got a keyframe at 20. It can't have a keyframe. Again, if it doesn't, it's going to look like this. Whoop. So he does this like weird hop. So they always have to have a start frame. So keep that in mind, and I look forward to watching these animations. A lot of fun. It is very, very easy to make something awful, but it's also very easy to make something really cool and really fun to watch, because it does not have to be realistic as long as it's consistent. So keep that in mind. Overwatch is a very good example of this. Those animations are incredibly stylized and with a lot of stretch and a lot of squash going on in their characters. So just keep that in mind. It does not always have to be photorealism that we're after. And we're going to go through and fix these curves and how these legs kind of stamp as we go through the course. So that's about it, and I look forward to watching your animations.